Yo, 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 what's cracking, everybody? What is happening this Monday evening for y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Solo Show. It's been a long time since I did one of these suckers right here, but I just had to get on and talk about it bro, since Mr. Destin here decided to talk about me. He didn't say anything really bad about me. In fact, anything. He he acknowledged that he liked me, which I was like, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. You don't hate me, which is nice. But then he said I said some off the wall shit, and I'm here to put it straight to you, y'all. I'm here to put it straight to you. What I said was not wild. What I what I literally we'll get to it. We'll get to it. In fact, we're gonna watch most of this whole video. I shouldn't keep you guys here any more than like an hour of your time max, because we will be stopping and talking about what he said and whatnot. And yes, we are talking about the most recent video that you can see up in the top left corner of the little thing that's being shared here, the YouTube clip that's being shared. The Xbox tax isn't real, is what he believes. It's what he believes, not what I believe, but that's what he believes. Okay, and we're gonna talk about it. I don't have any ill will towards Destin at all. So if you came here to listen to me scream and tell him he's a piece of garbage and all this stuff, it's not what we're doing here. That's not what we're doing here at all. I like to treat people with respect. And I like to be able to speak with these people if I ever meet them in person. I don't want there to be any bad blood, or to be absolutely ridiculous, or him to be like, yeah, remember you told me to go eat shit. Like, no, man, that ain't the type of energy I'm trying to keep. I'm trying to, still be able to rock with these folks, but we may have different opinions on stuff, and it just kind of is what it is. Let it cook, let it happen, let it bake, and we'll just see how things turn out in the future. That's how conversations should go, right? Anyways, without any further ado, let's go on ahead and jump into this video, because like I said, I don't want to keep you guys here crazy long, but I do want to break down some of the stuff that he said and kind of balance it out and see if I see what he's saying or if I don't see what he's saying. Let's just go on ahead and shut this music off in the background. Yeah, let's stop that. And let's go on ahead and just listen in. Let's listen in. If you guys can't hear it, just let me know. That's not that. Oh, okay. So you guys said no sound. Okay, thank you. Let me go on ahead and fix that for y'all. Uh, do that ain't no problem. All right, I'm gonna run this back. Let me know if you guys can hear it.
So, first of all, I have seen a lot of people talking about the Xbox tax, and they're usually relating it to.
Can you guys hear it now? Can you guys hear it now? We have vowels. Okay, we got sound. I was like, what does that mean?
Xbox not
All
getting
right,
a Game of the
let's
Year
go.
nomination. Many people felt that Starfield should have gotten an Xbox Game of the
So
Year nomination.
I'm not going to do this
But
all video, do this like slow down and everything, but I want you guys to hear what he said at the very beginning, because I did oh man, come on now. Because I did
really relating it to
have it
Xbox
muted.
not
So
getting a.
I want him to go on
So,
ahead and explain what he thinks we're talking about.
So, first of all, I have seen a lot of people talking about the Xbox tax, and they're usually relating it to Xbox not getting a Game of the Year nomination. Many people felt that Starfield should have gotten an Xbox Game of the Year nomination. But you know what? That game was contentious. No matter how you look at it,
He's wrong right from the jump. Right from the jump, he says, "We believe that there's an Xbox tax because of Starfield not making a game of the year nomination." No, we've been saying that there's an Xbox tax before Starfield even came out, bro. Like, we've been saying this for a hot second now, where no matter what Xbox does that's good, it gets spun into something ain't quite right, or it's not traditional, so it's not quite right, or whatever. Like for instance, like, bro, you literally just got done covering a ton of the APK deal stuff. You're gonna look at anybody with an honest face and say there was no taxation in in that situation at all. There was no griping from the media with any of that stuff. You're gonna really tell me that Jeff Grubb over here didn't just say not that long ago that people were unhappy with Hi-Fi Rush's numbers at Xbox when that wasn't true. I know that technically his friend or he heard it from somebody else, but it still came out of his mouth. He's still responsible for it because it came out of his mouth. So as much as he wants to say out, but I heard it from this guy over here, you said it. So that's what I'm saying. It's like it's like look at anything that Xbox does. Get Bethesda, you know, tell people that hey, you can play this stuff on Game Pass. Game Pass itself. Oh, this isn't sustainable. This can't work. Xbox is going to be close. How many different news outlets do we hear that Xbox might be closing out within the last few years? Yet they're still here. Uh, Let's continue.
That game either scored incredibly well or it was sort of middling. So the fact that it didn't get nominated doesn't mean that it's a bad game. It doesn't mean anything. It just means that it was a bit of a contentious title and it didn't get nominated for Game of the Year. There are several games that are multi-platform that did get nominated for Game of the Year that are also released on Xbox. Off the top of my head, Alan Wake is one of them. But the thing that really bothers me is that people keep talking about how the media is too hard on Xbox or Xbox doesn't get a fair shake. And yet channels like mine exist where I genuinely praise Xbox. I
You do?
criticize a lot of PlayStation's practices. And I find this whole conversation about an Xbox tax quite bizarre. Are there a few outlets who have gotten it wrong or have been rather unnecessarily scathing towards Xbox? Yeah, and it's weird when it happens. The PC gamer thing I'll talk about in a little bit was a little surprising to say the least. But just keep an eye out for things from that author if you don't think if you don't want to align with what they think. Like I never understand why people get so upset about like what somebody thinks online when you could just read somebody else. Like, if you like Starfield, go check out Paul Tassie's stuff. I've had him on the show many times. Paul Tassie adores Starfield. But you know who else talks about Xbox's shortcomings? Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer in 2022 called Xbox's release schedule a disaster. You have to take an honest.
I feel like he's forgetting one thing. We call out Xbox when they do stupid stuff. What did I just say not even a month ago about the whole cutting off the ability to use third party like controllers and stuff like that? Like the way they cut that off was completely wrong. We called out Redfall and how terrible it was. Look at my tweets from it. I said this game should have been better. I mean, we've called out Xbox left, right, and center. The year before 2022, I was pissed when they when they delayed Starfield and Redfall. I was pissed. I was like, here we go again. Here we go again. So the thing is, it we we hold it accountable when Xbox is not doing quite well. What I find interesting is that yeah, you Destin yourself, you've called out Sony on their stuff. Why isn't the rest of it? Why do you have to go onto your own channel to do that? why doesn't IGN ever bring up this type of stuff? They really trot softly around Sony, but they have no problem reposting, retweet of the same Xbox is bad. Xbox looks bad this time. It's not as good as it should be. It's not as good as I anticipated. Where was all that noise about Insomniac when they dropped the most buggy game that they've dropped? Where was that noise? Spider-Man 2 was a phenomenal game. I loved it, but a lot of people had a lot of problems with the game. Fonzarelli over here's shooting webs as a little piece of tofu. I mean, I'm just saying, where's the same energy at? Oh, we'll get to Call of Duty here in a little bit. We'll definitely get to Call of Duty and whatnot here in just a little bit. Let's go on ahead and continue this.
Let's look at what happened with Xbox, starting with the launch of the Xbox Series X and forward. And if you want to go back even further, you can take a look at the original Xbox One and see what happened with that launch. It was contentious. We all know that console launched and it had just the worst PR it could possibly have, talking about putting DRM into their games. The CEO at the time,
Destin, bro, you're talking about the past. I get that. I get that as part of maybe your argument, but what we're talking about with this whole tax thing is, as Xbox has transitioned to start looking better, especially with this year particular. With this year particular, if you only looked at the headlines and stuff, you would think that Xbox possibly didn't have the best year or had kind of a messy looking year. I can tell you first and foremost, they did not have a perfect year. They did not have a perfect year, but it was more on the good side than it was bad. And if you ask a lot of folks to be looking into this media stuff day after day after day, it seems like any big news that comes out when it pertains to Xbox, it has to be not that great. Or it seems to be trending towards good, but there has to be a stamp of yuck on it. A little bit of yuck. Oh my goodness. This brother, massive yikes. I'm going ahead and throw this on the screen because you really feel like you need to like correct everything that I say or do or whatnot. You ask anybody that's been following me for a long time, which obviously you haven't. Anybody that's been following me for a hot minute knows I've been always wondering why Xbox is a little critical. Is a little bit more critical than Sony's Sony's platform and whatnot. Everybody's way more critical on on Xbox's platform than they are Sony's or Nintendo's or whatever. Yeah. I'll put you on the TV, bro. There you go. But he says first time you ever mentioned media bias on your account was September 9th, 3 days after Starfield release. That is cap. That is cap. You're fighting against the crowd on that one, bro, because that is cap. That is cap. 100% cap. But anyways, continuing on, let's go through the video.
I'm blanking on his name for some reason. But anyway, he said stuff like buying Xbox 360 isn't smart to do when you're talking directly to your consumers. And it's just been sort of a bizarre reaction that I've seen online to this Xbox tax. Look, I love Xbox, but you can love a product and recognize its shortcomings. I love a lot of PlayStation games also, but I don't like a lot of the corporate strategies that are implemented that cost the player more money. And I feel like that's a big reason why I'm seen as an Xbox fanboy, because I'm very critical about the corporate strategies. But if you look at the content that I produce about the games, it's glowing for PlayStation. Xbox has had a lot of problems in the games category. Halo Infinite needed to be delayed to launch in the state that it launched. I stand by that. I love the Halo Infinite campaign, but multiplayer took a long time to hit its stride. Starfield was delayed a year. Had it come out in 2022 when it was supposed to, there is a chance that it would have been nominated for Game of the Year. Granted, Elden Ring also came out that year, so I think we can all agree that Elden Ring likely would have taken it. But let's talk about a few of these posts that I've seen, because I just find it fascinating that people who I like and respect, like Post Up here, are talking about this Xbox tax. Modern Warzone tweeted, Modern Warfare 3 is the best COD multiplayer we've had in years, but somehow is also the worst reviewed Call of Duty game of all time. I don't understand it, especially when you compare scores to some of the other games like Vanguard. Do you think these reviews are deserved? And he also talks about Doug Dagnabbit, who says, genuinely don't understand Call of Duty getting its worst reviews of all time with Modern Warfare 3, especially not the multiplayer. Now, he's correlating the fact that Xbox just closed on the Activision Blizzard deal with it getting poor review scores. That is insane to me. You think that journalists are playing Call of Duty thinking, well, Xbox owns this now, I have to give it a bad score? Like, that's
Absolutely. That is absolutely what I'm saying. Destin, you sound hostile while you say it, so you're making me sound crazy, but nah, it ain't that crazy, bro. It is not that crazy. Your own bro, Dan Stapleton, back in 2020, says Xbox making games exclusive would cause a ruckus. He may not have said those words specifically exactly, said something right along that line. If somebody wants to pull it up, go on ahead. I ain't here reading word for every goddamn thing, but I tell you what, I get the gist. I get the gist. When somebody in the media says it's going to cause a ruckus, not for fans, but just in general, then I'm wondering who's the one that's having the ruckus? Who's the one frustrated? Because I feel like if it was specifically just fans, which let's be honest, we're all fans of this, even people in the media, right? We're all fans of this. We all inherently have a bias towards something. As much as you want to say, oh, I like this just as much as this. No, you don't. No, you don't. You may like something just marginally more than something else, but I think that's where everybody sticks. I don't think everybody's 50, 50, 50, 50, 50 for everything. Nuh-uh. 25, 25, 25, 20. No. You have your controller that you usually like to use the most, and then the other ones are good enough. You have your console that you usually like to throw a disc in, and the other ones are good enough. You have one console that you turn on every day, probably at least, and every other one is just good enough to be around. It just is. It is what it is. It really is what it is. Right? So I'm saying everybody's technically a little bit biased. We're all people. We're all flawed. Nobody's perfect. Perfect, right? Nobody's perfect. So with that being said, if no one's perfect, we're all people. What runs IGN? People. And what do people usually have? Their favorites. The things that they like more than others. And there's nothing wrong with that. But ignoring it and saying that, oh, that's not true is bullshit. I mean, I think it's just simple. It's simple like that. Right? Let's continue.
that's the narrative that people are trying to say is causing the Xbox tax, and that's insanity to me. Here's what I actually think happened. I think Activision Blizzard, who we heard rumors of canceling this particular release of Call of Duty, rushed it out because they have to hit the yearly cadence to get the game out. And it's just subpar to many people who are reviewing the product. I don't think that's that crazy. What's more likely, that there's a grand conspiracy by the entire industry to be negative about Xbox or that one Call of Duty was kind of bad. Like, and the multi
He's missing the point, man. He really is. Think about every single game that's came out for Xbox. There's been some sort of bad representation of it. Every single one. Especially this year. Like I said, Hi-Fi Rush. A few months after it came out, oh, the people at Xbox ain't too happy with this game. It didn't sell enough. Redfall spoke for itself. I'm not giving any cap. Redfall was fucked up. Starfield repeatedly having to tell us. Not only did you repeatedly have to tell us that it's a 7 out of 10, but you had to host a space to validate it. Who does that? Who does that? Who hosts a space after giving their score like it's a celebration or something that needs to be understood or we need your excuse about it? The excuse is in the review, right? The excuse is in the review. So why do you feel that you need to double down and give two excuses? Oh, this is why. But I didn't play it a whole lot. Oh, everyone's getting on me about not playing it a whole lot. Let me get a space out and tell them why. Nah, man. If the review is the review, then just let it do all the talking for you. You don't need to come back and tell us all this bullshit. It really is what it is. Keep it pushing. How many times did what was it? GameSpot, Game Radar? Well, I don't remember which one it was, but they posted it like 10 damn times. All week long, repeatedly. Post. The same bull. Forza, you can take her, you can give or take. Because I understand Forza is more or less kind of like, are you into driving games? Are you into car games? Whatever. Let's continue.
multiplayer, for the most part, if it was reviewed separately, was a bit more positive than the campaign. The campaign was quite negative. Even influencers who were paid to play the campaign said it wasn't great. Like, the fact that you think this is like something about it has nothing to do with Xbox. Call of Duty is just a situation that is very convoluted and complicated, and it has nothing to do with the fact that it was purchased by Xbox. And by the way, here's the tweet from Doug Dagnabbit. He runs Modern Warzone. So Doug has a vested interest in Call of Duty doing well. But
oh, Destin, why are you doing this? So you're coming on the stage to tell us that the media doesn't have a tax, right? But you have zero vested interest. Meanwhile, you'd say that this Doug guy has vested interest in, of course he wants Call of Duty to look good. Look at what you just did to yourself, bro. We talking about vested interest now. We have moved into talking about vested interest. While everyone that watches you, for the most part, knows that you work at IGN. Imagine this. Imagine walking into a repair shop and you end up talking to the crew manager. Y'all cool. Y'all end up going to have a beer. And he says, yo, I can repair your shit at my crib for a little bit cheaper. No problem. All right, that sounds good. You put him on camera, right? And say that one more time. Do you think he's going to say the same bullshit? Knowing that his boss is going to see it? Knowing that his boss's boss is going to see it? You think he's going to come out and say, I can do a better job cheaper at my crib. You don't need to come back over here anymore. You think he's really going to do that out in public? Now think about Destin. He works at IGN. Okay, cool. But how are you going to talk about the media when you work in it? You're going to tell me that there's no bias. Of course you're going to tell me that. I wouldn't expect anything less. You literally work there. That's where that's where your bread gets buttered. You're not going to do that. So why should I buy anything that you're saying? To me, it just doesn't add up. You're talking about somebody's vested interest in Call of Duty because they run a Call of Duty site. Meanwhile, you're at IGN, you work at IGN, and you're going to side with IGN instead of us. Come on, man. It really ain't that difficult to understand. It really ain't.
Because he runs the main outlet that covers Call of Duty. So of course he's going to be like super vested in that game doing well. And no fault to you. Like if this video gets sent to Doug, like I'm not slamming him or anything like that. But like you have one source post, it's Doug, and then you source probably the tweet that he made. And then you talk about Charlie Intel, where you talk about PC Gamer. And I alluded to this a second ago. PC Gamer review says Modern Warfare 3 is not fun because Sledgehammer Games took a sledgehammer to the movement that Infinity Ward had in Modern Warfare 2. The reviewer calls slide canceling and faster mantling cheesy techniques. Now, I will say this. I think it's totally fine to question and critique reviews and how they're written. I think that's fine. But to say that the way that's written is anything to do with Xbox, it's insane to me. It's absolutely insane to me. And I just had to say this because like I see people I like talking about this stuff. I'm like, what are you doing? That's not a thing. By the way, if you like my channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. I don't think I'm, as an Xbox centric channel, denying the Xbox tax. I don't think I'm going to make a lot of friends with this one, but I had to.
Yeah, you didn't make a lot of friends with it, and I tell you what, you didn't lose me as one, though. I can tell you that much. It to me, this all is just perception. You know, that's really what it is. I'm not finna scream at somebody. I'm not trying to not be able to have a conversation because I just want to ignore and plug my ears and la 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 la. I'm not trying to do that dumb shit at all. We can have a conversation. We can sit and talk about it. It is what it is. But I am going to speak if I don't agree with something, and I'll try to do it in the most respectful way. Shout out to Silent Cypher with the $2 super chat way earlier. I completely blanked and forgot about it. But he said, but he says the media saying that the media isn't biased. Exactly. That is literally what's happening. It is literally what is happening. Exactly. Sorry, I'm truthful. He's out here saying, isn't he doing the same thing? Exactly. You're criticizing somebody for saying, oh, well, they have a vested interest while you're on your side channel from a business that you work within. It's the equivalent of saying we investigated ourselves and we don't see anything wrong. You know, it's like, what? What does that even mean? But all right, let's continue.
To say it. Continuing on, Microsoft celebrates its this criticism I agree with. I think that this is phrased in a very strange way. Microsoft celebrates its conquest of Activision and the triumph of capitalism with a montage video that mashes up Modern Warfare, Halo, Diablo, Starfield, and more. Now, I have to imagine that this writer does not like capitalism. And the fact that they're talking about it like a conquest, every employee wanted this to happen. Every employee who has stock is going to make a ton of money. Most of these bigger companies offer an employee stock purchase program, so everybody profited handsomely from this. And if you look at the tweets from the developers, like I just disagree with PC Gamer on this one, and that's fine. It's fine to have a healthy debate, but to say it's an Xbox tax, I think that's a little much. Now, Ham Solo also bringing up Call of Duty. Ham and Post. Like I really like you guys, but I think you're just way off with this one. Modern Warfare 3 is stuck paying deference to a past that seems to barely understand. Our review, 2 out of 5. Clickbait versus reality. Now, he links to the marketing material from Call of Duty. That's talking about thank you and how well the game did. Thank you. More hours per player overall. Modern War MWZ is the most engaging third mode in history. Campaign players putting in more time per player. Like, those are retention statistics. Okay. The game can still be bad. The game can be bad and still sell well, right?
Sell well, one thing. Retention, little different. A little different. Who's out here just going to go turn on a game tonight that they hate? Who here is going to turn on a game tonight that they hate and just keep playing it? Just keep cranking it out. Put more days into a game that you just can't stand. Who else is doing that? Who is really out here just, I'm going to throw this game on because I spent money on it? I know what Vinny does. I know what Uso Vinny does in the chat. I played 10 hours. I played 5 hours of this game and I thought it was garbage, so I got a return. That's what normal people do. I don't like it, so I returned it. That's what I did. When I didn't like a game, I said, all right, I don't like this. I got my money back. To me, it's really that simple. If you don't like a game, you're not going to keep playing it and keep playing it and keep playing it. Especially a game like Call of Duty where it doesn't change a whole lot. It's literally the same thing every time a game starts, in multiplayer at least. You're not just going to, you may yell at your screen. I do that all the time still, right? But what you're not going to do is be like, man, I can't stand this game. I'm going to see if the boys are on and let's go. Like that doesn't happen. Silent Cypher out here with another $2 super chat saying, I'm playing Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer right now. Great game. 4 out of 10. That's what I like. Come on, man. Let's before we continue on with what Destin was saying, I wanted to bring up that post right here. So let me go on ahead and stop sharing that one. I'll throw that one on just for the meantime. And let me get this back cooking. So, all right. So you can see the screen right here. This is my post that I had for this. Let's see. Maybe I can move myself a little bit more. No, that was not a great idea. All right. Yeah, that'll work right there. All right, cool. So I put the post for the whole clickbait versus reality thing right here. Let's expand that, make this a little bit bigger so you may be able to see this. I'm not sure what you guys are all watching on phone, TV, whatever. But so Game Radar, so he read the top post, right? He read the top post where it says Modern Warfare 3 is stuck paying whatever the fuck that they mean by saying that, paying deference to the past that it seems to barely understand our review right here. And then in the review, In this picture right here, it says Modern Warfare 3 is one of the most underwhelming entries in the Call of Duty in Call of Duty's 20-year history. That's what I'm talking about. He just got done saying that these reviews, right, have been consistent for like Xbox reviews and stuff like that, with it being a 2 point whatever, 2 point whatever. How is this one in particular? How is this Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, this one right now, the worst in 20 years if everything else has been rated lower or about the same? You for I don't know whose boy this is, but I'm sure it's somebody's boy up in here in the chat. But Reforge had some shit to say, right? Let's go and see if I can find the thing that he posted, because he posted like a picture. Oh, right here, right here, right here. He responds back to me saying, "And while you are reading, check out the review scores from from users. Are these clickbait too?" He shows the Modern Warfare mostly negative on Steam, which, keep in mind, Steam hasn't had Call of Duty that long. But then he goes on, and here's the part that I thought was interesting as hell. He goes on to show the 2.4 score for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 on Xbox as a review. I thought that was kind of interesting. Why, you say, do I think that's interesting? Because let's go on ahead and look over here. Where are you at? Yeah, right here. Let's look at this post. Vanguard 2.1. Modern Warfare 2018 1.9. Black Ops Cold War 2.1. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 just edged it out with a 2.5. You see what I'm saying? Where's it? But it's the worst in 20 years. It's the worst in 20 years, though, right? I'm not saying those are great numbers right there. That is not what I'm advocating here. I'm not advocating saying that these are great numbers. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to use that as your argument, then tell me what happened the last 20 years. Use this to make your statement make sense. Because what you're trying to tell me is this recent Call of Duty is trash. And I'm trying to tell you, well, if it's trash, then it's been trash for a long time. That's what I'm saying. Is if this one is trash, then it's been trash. It's been terrible. Why is it terrible this year? Just a simple question. Why is it terrible this year? I can tell you why. It's because there was an acquisition. Absolutely. That's what I believe. That's what I'm sticking with. And that it is what it is, bro. If you don't like it, kick rocks. I do not care. All right, let's go on ahead and continue that video. I need to throw it back on real quick. All right, let's continue. Oh, bro.
Do you remember when Gran Turismo 7 launched and it was offline for like a week, but it was still topping sales charts? Like, games can launch with problems and still do well for the marketing team, even Diablo, for example. And thankfully, now
I don't feel like Gran Turismo was a comparison because that game, the review came out and then the game launched completely with everything that you could see in it. Whispers, no, I'm not whispers, crickets, crickets when that happened, right? Crickets. Remember? Oh, this is the monetization GT's in. GT has, huh? They didn't show any of this for the review build. Remember that? Pepper's Farms remembers. Ham remembers. Let's go.
y'all know you're off your rocker when Baz agrees with me.
Oh, this
It's
is great right
precisely
here.
because of this tax perception built on Xbox's sustained failures in a critical console generation and beyond that Xbox has no choice but to deliver above and beyond its competition. To sway the public and media, predisposition requires several key victories, not in an adversarial sense.
I'm wondering if he heard what he just read. I'm a little concerned that he didn't hear what he just said. Xbox has to deliver above and beyond their competition to be looked at as decent. That's what he just got done saying. What does that kind of scratch your head and tell you? He just acknowledged that. If they have to do above and beyond better, then that means they're not on the same playing field. So, no, Gaz didn't exactly agree with you. He may have seen what you were saying, but he didn't completely agree. In fact, he kind of reinforced what a lot of us was thinking. That Xbox has to do this crazy amount of shit. Excuse me. I'll just say it. They have to do crazy amount of shit to be on the same playing field. Yeah, and I love what Pixelbit just said right here. I love what he said right here. He says Xbox was publisher was the publisher of the year of 2021. So you're claiming they need more than 100%. Then they are the. Oh, come on, man! I didn't read that part. The N words of this. Oh, come on, man! Damn, that was rough. Oh man, I didn't read. I didn't read. I read the first sentence. Oh damn, bro. Damn, you ain't messing around. You for real out here. You for real. Take a bit for real out here. Lord have mercy. But anyways, yeah. So that's literally what we're trying to tell y'all is they have to they have to go above and beyond to be looked in the same light. And if that ain't taxing, I don't know what is.
We can cry about it, not suggesting Joey is here, or just keep pressuring the company to deliver more, especially considering the resources available to it. I believe that pressure is definitely felt within Xbox now after ABK, but it's also clear that Xbox does need a steer and reminder from the community. I believe Xbox is in a really good place. You're going to see some proper attempts and efforts at gaining traction and delivering quality content. I am a lot less concerned about how Xbox's roadmap is. Sorry, I'm a lot less concerned now about Xbox's roadmap than Sony's. I should probably make a video about that, but
Yeah, you
Sony's
probably
having some
should.
major problems right now in terms of just like how many people have left, how many senior people have left the key franchises that are working on.
And one other thing is, you know that, Destin. You know how bad Sony is looking right now. Please help me understand as to why we're not hearing anything about that. You're talking about need to make a video of it. Why don't you tell your people at IGN they need to make a video about? They need to talk about. They need to get in the trenches like they have no problem doing when Xbox has a failure. Sony right now is getting sued, but who's talking about it? I don't see that getting posted 20 times.
Big problem. Like Naughty Dog lost their senior lead, Returnal lost their senior lead, tons of layoffs at Bungie. Anyway, continuing on, that is struggling to reconcile its games as a service pivot in a changing market, as well as a cash rich behemoth like Microsoft that can introduce disruptive elements like Game Pass and a monstrous acquisition like ABK. Strictly in this sense, the industry is in a healthy place because of such determined players in the space. Hi, my name is Gaz, and this is my TED Talk. Gaz is right. We should be pressuring the trillion-dollar company to do better.
So we have been. We have been pressuring the trillion-dollar company to do better, right? We have been, Destin. But the thing is when they do something good, y'all don't even acknowledge it. Y'all put a spin on it, make it look bad. Make it look like it ain't enough. It could have been better if they added this, that, and the third. It came out buggy. But other things get a pass when people notice that, oh man, Tears of the Kingdom's running a little rough. Getting down in the 20s, 19 FPS. What's happening? Not a Spider-Man game's crashing. It's broken. It's having some issues. Not a peep. Starfield doesn't have DLSS. Rage. Flip over the table. Go get your guns. We hot and angry. Oh, Xbox is making they're making Tomb Raider exclusive. That's BS. But don't mind if Sony makes Final Fantasy continuously exclusive. Don't mind if Sony takes Stella Yams away that was supposed to go to Xbox as well. Don't mind any of that stuff. That is not their first party. Don't mind it. But please pay attention to anything Xbox makes. Oh yeah, Dan said, you remember Dan, like I just said earlier, back in 2020, causing a ruckus. If y'all make these exclusive to Xbox, where's the ruckus for PlayStation when they make something exclusive?
What? Why wouldn't you? They have $1 trillion, y'all. They don't need you to jump up and defend them every time things get a little spicy, like when a Call of Duty releases and it's sort of whatever. A lot of people do not like the new Call of Duty. Influencers who are paid to play it say, yeah, that campaign was kind of mid. Maybe people disagree about the multiplayer.
So you can believe those people that say, oh yeah, it's not that great. But when other people say, hey, this is hitting some numbers, or they say, hey, we acknowledge that this may not be the best, but we've launched Call of Duties with zero campaign and got less and got less flack than this. Let's talk about Black Ops 4. No campaign. Oh, Battlefield launched with no campaign and broken. Why didn't that game get a 4 out of 10? Where's the consistency at, y'all? What we doing? What are we doing? Shout out to Pixelbit G with a $2 super chat saying, how many months did media cry about Bethesda? Talk about it. How many times did we have to hear where the next Elder Scrolls is going to be? How many times did Phil have to tell you where Starfield was going to be? Why is it so unbelievable that Xbox has an exclusive, especially when they own it? Why is that crazy? Exactly. Exactly right here. So now mid is a 4. Okay. Yeah, just like a point or a half a point above what Kong? We're really gonna put this in the same realm as Kong, Crossfire X, Gollum. We're really gonna do that, huh? I find that interesting.
I don't play Call of Duty. I don't care about this Call of Duty release, but the fact that it's bad isn't insane to me, especially when Schreier, like a year ago, revealed that they were talking about canceling it. Like, if they're internally having discussions about canceling it, maybe something's wrong. Now, I don't know if audio's turned on here, but there is a little clip I'm going to try and play here.
Yo,
I'm not getting
listen to this
desktop
shit
audio. Let
right
me set it
here.
up really quick. Let's see. What am I outputting to?
Listen to this shit right
No
here.
audio. Let me try and get this set up. Sorry. It's
Dude
just
literally works
my
at
son's going
Xbox.
crazy. I don't know what's going on,
Major
but
Nelson,
basically, for some
where
reason,
he
I can't
used to,
output
he
audio.
just retired. Like
Oh,
I
is it
believe
just
it was
because
like
it's
a
muted
month
and I'm dumb?
ago.
Yeah. All right, let's listen to this clip.
I think
But,
you're
but
not getting the
peep
credit you
this
deserve
shit
this
right
generation.
here.
We never will. Yeah, we never will.
And who's that on the stage with him? Is that Greg Miller? What's happening over here? What is this? What are we watching? What is happening?
I think you're not getting the credit you deserve this generation. We never will. Yeah, we never will. Yeah, we've seen this. We've seen this. It's like we know that there's a different yardstick for the different developers. Right. It's like we know that there's a different yardstick for the different developers. Right. The Nintendo guys are great. They, I've got my Switch right here in case I want to play Fortnite.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, those guys are great. I talked to Reggie the other day. The guys over at PlayStation, they're doing great. They're executing. They've had tremendous success this time around. But it's funny with us. I think it's maybe because I don't know. So yeah. I think people like, oh, I hate Windows because I have to use it at work, or I'm doing email, or I don't want to do this PowerPoint for work. So I don't know if some of that anxiety and whatnot drifts over to Xbox, but we just want to do the best we can for gamers.
This was back in 2018.
Okay, so that's from Kind of Funny, and that's from 2018. Joey says, and I just want to discuss for a second. Joey says, I know this whole Xbox tax is people not believing Xbox has a different set of rules applied to them. Well, I finally found the interview with Major Nelson back in 2018, admitting that they do and know Xbox has a different measuring stick today. It has a herb tax. If the fact that Xbox
I mean, you see that thinking he had to do right there, right?
The fact that Xbox doesn't have a ton of AAA games at this time period isn't a tax, it's a reality. And we should be pressuring them to have more high-profile AAA releases. I think they had like Gears 5 around 2018 off the top of my head. And then the Series X launched in what, 2020?
I feel like he's just skipping completely over what Major Nelson was alluding to. Just to say that back then they didn't have a whole lot going on. That's not what Major Nelson was talking about. Major Nelson was literally saying, yo, they measure people differently out here. No matter what we do, we're measured differently. That's what he said. He literally just said that. No matter what we do, we're measured differently. He didn't say, oh, if we match the plethora, but we haven't been, so that's not what he said. He just said there's a different measuring stick for different developers. We know what that means, but you're not talking about that anymore.
The Series X launched in what, 2020? So they had about a year where it was a very light release cadence. And the reason I bring up the Phil Spencer emails, because even Phil Spencer calls the 2022 release schedule a disaster, because in 2021 it felt like,
what's that have to do with what he just got done talking about? What's the release schedule of 2018, 2019, 2020 have to do with this conversation? We're talking about tax. We're not talking about length between games being dropped. We're talking about media running out even when Xbox has a good year like they have been. You're sitting there saying, oh, well, 2022 was bad. He acknowledged that. But where was the recognition for Xbox in 2021 when they were Publisher of the Year? You keep saying that we didn't have anything. We did in 2021. Where was that acknowledgement? 2022 was bad, and Xbox admitted it. You're right. They did. But then 2023 is looking pretty good. We literally just got the biggest acquisition in history for Xbox. Yet there's still problems. Your head reviewer guy literally said when Bethesda was acquired, if they make things exclusive, this could be a problem. Problem for who?
Like they were hitting their stride. Brap points out, yeah, there's an Xbox tech.
All right, bro. Now you're referring. I ain't got no problem with Brap. But I find it wild that Major Nelson can tell you something to your face. Somebody can post something that Major Nelson told you, and you're like, but Braps.
Forza Horizon 5.
And let me keep it a buck real quick. Imagine if we went over and talked to, I don't know. Imagine if Corey Barlog said something, right? And then Destin says, but Ham Solo said this. The fuck? I mean, I'm even throwing myself right there, right? Not going to listen to Corey, but you'll listen to Ham Solo. Do you not see the problem with that? I'm using myself. I'm using myself as showing out for this. I'm not trying to pick on Brat. Love him or hate him, I don't care how you feel about Brat. I don't hate him. He doesn't bother me. I'll put it that way. He doesn't bother me at all. I've talked to him a few times. I've been on his show, he's been on my show, whatever. We've talked a few times. It ain't no big deal. I don't have any beef towards him. But that's what I'm saying. You literally just had Major Nelson say something, and then you use Brad. Imagine literally hearing something that Corey Barlog said, and then looking at Ham Solo. Who are you going to believe? Who are you going to believe? You're going to believe the person that's literally working there, or are you going to listen to the man?
I've got a 10. It was celebrated industry wide. I think it won Racing Game of the Year that year. So, like, and by the way, this dude hates me, by the way, but he's right. Forza got a 10. We gave, like, it's insane to me to talk about that. It would be like saying that this is the PlayStation tax, I guess. Windows Central wrote it. It must be true. Destiny 2's player count falls to a new all-time low, and I'm not surprised. That's from Brendan Lowry. Oh, he writes for Windows. Whoops. Well, he writes for Windows Central. I guess that's PlayStation tax. It's insane, you guys. Asking Xbox.
It would be a PlayStation tax if that's all the media was talking about was the negativity of PlayStation. It would be. If PlayStation was doing well and all media outlets had to do is find crumbs of something bad, yes, it would be the same, Destin. Yes, but it's not. At this point, no, that is not a tax. There's one post that you had to dig up and find from Windows Central. I want you to bring me back 10 other posts that say something like that. Same timing, same type of articles, same lines. That's what we're seeing from some of these other reviews and whatnot. People saying literally the exact same stuff as if they didn't have their own, as if they didn't have their own words to say. So they just read some other reviews and just typed in something similar. No specifics with a lot of the stuff. And some of the specifics that they do talk about, they say this isn't a big deal. This feels good. This feels like old Call of Duty. Well, if it feels fine, how to get all the way down to a 4? How to get down to a broken game? How to get to Redfall status? Just a question.
To come up with a regular release cadence, which they have been working on. And Redfall, by the way, this past year was supposed to be part of that release cadence, failed. And Phil Spencer admits it failed. And they're reevaluating their internal policies to correct that issue. We should be hard on Xbox when they make mistakes. Look, Starfield wasn't for everybody. That doesn't make it a bad game. That doesn't mean there's an Xbox tax. It just means it was a contentious release.
It's not that we should be hard on Xbox specifically. We should just be hard on whatever's messing up. It's not just Xbox. It's not just PlayStation. It's not just Nintendo. It's keeping it a buck across the board, keeping it, keeping that same energy. It's that simple.
Largely due to some of the mission structure, based on what I've read, a feeling of grindiness and repetitiveness, and sort of like the illusion is broken because the way that they built the interplanetary systems didn't work for everybody. But for some people, it was great. Now, Chris Dring also talked about how this is real. Like, console sales were up 33% across tracked European markets year on year. This was entirely due to PlayStation 5, with sales up 116% over June last year. Switch sales were down 2.3 year on year, while Xbox Series X and X sales were down 0.8, so basically flat. Fast forward a few months later, Xbox sees a big sales slump. Let me find it. Number Switch is number 2, despite a 20% drop in sales compared with last October, while Xbox Series X and S sales continue to struggle in Europe, down 52% year on year. These are struggles that Xbox has to figure out. But I will say that Microsoft's strategy is not about the console. When I see people touting Xbox's console difficulties as some sort of weird victory for whatever reason, it's not true, because their strategy isn't about the console. Even Sony, who is selling their console like crazy, is firing tons of people because that's not the future. However, Chris String also pointed out Xbox hasn't had the best year so far in terms of raw hardware sales across Europe, but the most effective way for it to reach European players is via mobile and PC. And in that regard, it's making real headway. Xbox has a different playbook at play, and Chris Dring, who I imagine got a lot of flack for talking about how console sales were down year over year, because everybody likes to pile on Chris whenever he's critical about Xbox, also realizes that, hey, that's not really their strategy now, is it? And I think we all know that, right? I just want people to think about this whole Xbox tax thing, and it's not real. There are things that happen online. Nobody's like going out of their way to dunk on Xbox.
Let's see. It's not real. 1913 is where we're at. It's not real. It's not real, right?
The credit you deserve.
We just got done going over this.
My son's going crazy. Oh, is it just because it's muted and I'm dumb? Yeah.
Because
all right, let's listen to this clip.
I think you're not getting the credit you deserve this generation.
We never will.
Yeah.
We never will.
Yeah.
We've seen this. It's like we know that there's a different yardstick for the different developers. It's like we know that there's a different yardstick for the different developers.
Right.
The Nintendo guys are great. I've got my Switch right here in case I want to play Fortnite.
Yep.
So, I mean, those guys are great. I talked to Reggie the other day. The guys over at PlayStation, they're executing. They've had tremendous success this time around. But, it's funny with us. I think it's maybe because I don't know. So I think people like, oh, I hate Windows because I have to use it at work, or I'm doing email, or I don't want to do this PowerPoint for work. So I don't know if some of that anxiety and whatnot drifts over to Xbox, but we just want to do the best we can for gamers.
Okay, so that's
So you
their
post
way to
that.
dunk on Xbox. That's insane. There's no grand conspiracy against Xbox. Xbox needs to win over players. PlayStation has spent since the PlayStation 4 through the PlayStation 5, all of that time with better marketing. They did some cutthroat stuff behind the scenes to get more players, like having those Call of Duty exclusives. And you know what Microsoft did in response? They bought Bethesda and they bought Activision. We are at the time when Xbox has an opportunity to sway the consumer base back to their platform. And when internal emails are alluding to the fact that Xbox will no longer exist if they don't make that pendulum swing back in their direction, I don't think that's a media bias or anything like that, making Microsoft make that decision. Microsoft recognizes that they have work to do and they're putting in the work. That is great. And I think
they are putting in work. And it's exciting to see, right? But it's a little weird, in my opinion, when they're putting in the work and there's no recognition about it. There's no recognition without trying to find some clue to something being foul or wrong. There's been nothing that's come out this year where IGN just said this was good and just left it as that. Or gave it a review and just called it good to go and just left it as that. You always have to come to your own personal channel to talk about it. You just got done talking just a little bit ago. You have to come to your own personal channel to talk about how bad PlayStation is doing. You mentioned that just a little bit ago in this video. Oh, I should make something about PlayStation and how bad that they're doing. And man, they're having a hard time. And they've lost people over at Naughty Dog, and they're having a hard time over at Destiny. Why do you have to do that? You work for a gaming for a gaming what am I thinking, Dan? For a gaming outlet. You literally work for a gaming outlet that's their job. You have to step to the side to keep it a buck with us. Why do you have to do that? Yet you're here telling me that there's no tax. There's no tax, but you had to create a channel, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Hell, even if you were top dog at IGN, I don't care if you make your own channel, because that's where you want to, speak your piece and whatnot, right? That's what you want to talk about when the folks at your job ain't allowing you to talk about it, right? But I just find it really interesting that the only time I hear something bad about anything that has to do with PlayStation from anywhere near IGN, it has to be on your personal channel. Can't be on the IGN channel. Why is it? Because you cover Xbox for them over there? Well, why aren't your buddies over there talking about it either?
being critical about their missteps, like that Call of Duty, it ain't it. And if you're using that Call of Duty entry to use as some sort of defense, or even Starfield, like, you have to be able to look at these games and say, okay, I love Starfield. What are some reasons some people might not like it as much as I do? And just recognize that you have a difference of opinion. It doesn't mean there's a grand conspiracy against the Xbox platform. I love y'all. I gotta call it like I see it, though, with this whole Xbox tax thing. And I think Xbox fans should be asking Xbox to continue to elevate their platform, come up with new strategies to win new customers. And honestly, I think next year and the year after and the year after that, we're going to see some pretty substantial changes just based on the leaks that we've seen from Microsoft, right?
Destin, we will continue to ask for Xbox to continue to do better. But one thing that we're also going to continue to do is ask for y'all media folks out there. Y'all need to do better too. This ain't just they're a $1 trillion company. What's the problem? Let's just keep harping on. Sure, we can do that, but at the same time, we have to give credit where credit is due. And if we don't see certain folks out there that say that they're the largest gaming, gaming um a media platform out there, yet y'all ain't really covering. I mean, keep it. Let's remember, y'all were IGN was the same people that forgot to put Xbox coming out for this game, coming out for that game, coming out. PlayStation and Nintendo's getting the new Mortal Kombat. Guess who got forgot about? Xbox. Oh, Liza P's coming out. Guess who got forgot about? Xbox. And it's going into Game Pass. And somehow you just forgot? Scratching my motherfucking head. What is happening? It's not obvious. When's the last time you forgot to put something out with the PlayStation tag on? When's the last time you forgot to do that for Nintendo? I'm just saying, if there isn't this tax for Xbox, why is Xbox the one that you keep messing up with? It's consistent at this point. When you have to say a million times where Elder Scrolls is coming, and people in the comments are literally saying, we know, we heard this. This is old news. Can you stop? What do you think they're going to feel? Good to see that you had a great weekend, Mike Johnson. Ah, man, my resident hater is here, Mike Johnson, my guy. Oh man, he always giving me the smoke. He always giving me the smoke and coming through whenever I'm talking about Xbox or I'm saying how I feel about PlayStation or something like that. Man, I am definitely not too stressed about it. Like I said earlier in this, if you're just joining now, Mike Johnson, I know Doc Dark just joined us a little bit ago. Some of y'all folks just joined up. I appreciate y'all for joining and whatnot, but I'm not tripping about this. I think Destin's a pretty good dude. I think personally that that ear to the ground that he had is a little faint. He ain't hearing the train like we hear. Like he ain't got his ear to the ground the same way. At least, like he got his ear to the ground, but he hearing something else. In my opinion, and that's all this shit is. I mean, y'all don't take this stuff too serious. Don't start to block and tell people F you and like remember, you're a damn adult. Treat it as such. Don't take the low road, but do be willing to have a conversation even if it gets heated. It doesn't matter. We're all passionate about this because this is what we really love and this is what's fun to us. And we just like football fans. They love going to the football games. They love watching their football. They love dogging on the Raiders or dogging on the Chiefs or dogging on the Vikings. But at the end of the day, we still sitting next to each other watching the same motherfucking game. So don't take it too personal to people out here. It ain't that serious. It is not that serious. But at the same time, don't hold your tongue. Keep it a buck. And if you don't know how to say it respectfully, take a break and come back when you get your head on straight. Oh, stop it. Mike Johnson, how you're tripping. I got to put this one up there. I like it. that fool said shout out to me pushing him over 1,000 subscribers. Man's out of his mind. What up, Doc? Doc, I see you said facts. I appreciate it. See you, John Wolf, saying facts. I'm just trying to, man. I'm just trying to bring light to situations, and I'm sure not everyone's gonna like your boy Ham. So, I'm not out here trying to get everybody to love me. What I am trying to do is get y'all to at least understand where I'm coming from. And if you don't understand, at least having the gall, the balls, the cojones to talk about it. That's really all it is. Shout out to Dark Optimus in the chat. We've gotten to a few heated debates. 2004 is better than 2007, right, Dark Optimus? You know what I'm saying? Like, we get into these debates. But it's fun to debate. It shouldn't be violent. It shouldn't be angry. You shouldn't want to. I mean, sure, maybe you might want to put your hands around that motherfucker's neck. But at the same time, you have to understand constraint. And that this is just the internet. In these games, I can actually touch my controller. I can actually whoop someone's ass in the video game. Maybe that's where you need to take that anger out. Don't take it out on people, man. Ain't nobody got time for that, man. And don't nobody care either. You are one block from being completely ignored by a ton of different people. Or maybe a few blocks. Word travels as well. So remember to respect motherfuckers out here. It's really not that hard to do so. Let's finish up this.
That's my take on the whole situation. Hey, if you like me talking about this stuff, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. I want to be clear though. I'm not saying anybody is bad or anything for talking about Xbox tax. I just think you need to rein it in a bit. The people that I'm listing here, like Post Up and Ham, they've been really great. I just don't agree with this Xbox tax sentiment. And I don't think
exactly what I'm talking about right there. He doesn't agree with me, but he still paid respect. He didn't have to do that. I definitely didn't tell him to do that because guess what? Legend 350 or Legend, my boy, he has his own channel with Mad Drex. Back in the day, they used to always do a show together. They're PlayStation guys for the most part. He hit me up and was like, "You in Destin's video?" So I went and checked it out. He said, "What is he saying?" I completely disagree with it. But I'm gonna give him the same. I'm gonna give him the same respect that he did me. I'll talk my shit and tell you how I feel about it. But at the end of the day, I don't hate him. It ain't no big deal. I'm not unsubscribing from him. I'm still subscribed. Still gonna check out what he says. Because what happens when we keep blocking people, we keep muting people, shit's still happening. You're just unaware now. And what does unaware mean? Ignorant. You gonna play ignorant? Pray for change, but not do shit about it? If you want something to change, you want to be understood, you got to understand where they're coming from too. And then try to get up in there and try to make the changes yourself. It's just like a business. If you have all the people in the business thinking the same way, ain't nothing going to change until somebody else starts working there, gets in the business themselves and starts helping making some changes and shit like that. Or else it's just going to be the same repetitive bullshit. So we got to try. I mean, you may think of it as infiltrating. I think of it more or less as finding common ground and seeing where we can all kind of level out and understand. In my opinion, I feel like IGN, they just don't, they know what they're doing for clicks, and that's kind of what they're running on. And it happens to be a rerun that is very popular. If I this whatever, we'll just keep getting clicks. We won't have to change nothing. But I'm saying if enough people don't block them, but keep complaining, more people come out and see the truth of the fact of the matter, then there might be some sort of change. It may not take 6 months, a year. It may not even be in the next 10 years, but it might be by the time my daughter gets old enough. It might be in my daughter's 20s. She's only 6 right now. Who knows? In her 20s, things might be completely different. She could be doing the exact same thing I'm doing right now for PlayStation in 20 years. Who knows? I hope not. But who knows? She could be like, what's up with this PlayStation X? All I see is PlayStation hate, and they just had a good year. All we're looking for is a balance, brother. That's all.
Ever really have. There have been a lot of things that have happened in the media where they're negative towards Xbox, but that's just their opinion. I don't think it's like an industry bias or something. Otherwise, why does Windows Central exist? And even Windows Central is critical of Xbox often, right? Like the biggest Xbox fans, myself included, are often critical of the brands that they love because they want them to do better. That's what I want from PlayStation. That's what I want from Xbox, because at the end of the day, all I want is what's best for consumers. And honestly, if this Call of Duty reaction means a banger of a Call of Duty next year, I think that's a good thing. And I hope that's what happens. Time will tell. Thanks for watching. If you want to become a member, hit that join button.
All right, cool. Well, that's the end of that right there. And I tell you again, you guys, I appreciate y'all for being here, hanging out. I only have one other thing that I wanted to kind of show and talk about just briefly. And that is, bro, don't forget, it is Cyber Monday. That's the last thing I kind of want to end this out with, because I want to end on a positive. All right. So I want y'all to check out some of these deals and see if any of this stuff pertains to you, or if you see something that you like, go on ahead and pick it up, because right now, Central Time, it is 8:25 p.m. It is still Cyber Monday out here. All right. So check out some of this stuff that they got. Pretty hot. If you're into Madden, it's only $30 right now. You know what I'm saying? That's not bad. Jedi Survivor is only $30 right now. And I know it says PS5 up here, but usually it's for PS5's Series S or X and Switch if they have a version for it. Bro, right here, $35 for NBA 2K. I mean, they got some of these sales similar on the Xbox store. So I know 2K on the Xbox store right now is $34.99. I'm pretty sure Madden is the same. I don't know about Jedi Survivor. Ooh, that's a great deal on God of War Ragnarok right there for only $39. That game is hot. It was pretty good. Shout out to Vinny for hooking it up so your boy can play that game. If you're into Gran Turismo, $40. Especially if you got the VR, that shit's hot. Let's see, Final Fantasy 16, Forspoken, $20. That's a good price for that game, in my opinion. I spent $17.50 for that sucker because I didn't see it as worth $7. So I bought it for a price that I knew I wouldn't be salty about. $17.50, baby. I ain't finna go through all of these, but we're gonna continue through just through a few of them. Liza P's off $10. Yeah, there's this again, the Series X disc version, only $34. That sucker. So yeah, make sure you guys go through, check out some of these deals before the like you see right down here. Maybe, dude. Oh my goodness. I just realized that I'm on the wrong motherfucking page. God damn. There we go. All right. So yeah, Microsoft Series X console, $50 off right now. I'm gonna go back and show y'all a couple of these things I've seen not that long ago. Yeah, like I said, Jedi Survivor right here, Madden, $30. Let's go back to where I was just at. Metal Gear. I know Loke would love this one. I can't believe I'm even bringing this. I'm not even gonna say the works. I don't want him to pop up and show up, say nothing. But this right here is on sale as well. Oh, come on, Mav. You ain't gotta come through here and call me insane. I mean, I kind of know I am just a little bit, but I'd like to say I'm a good insane. Oh, John TJ, you missed it, man. I was going in a little bit. I kept it respectful, but I had to talk about it because it all just didn't make sense, and especially since he mentioned me in it, I definitely had to I had to return the smoke just a little bit. But yeah, just make sure you guys check out some of these deals before they go away because it's still Cyber Monday right now. Get yourself some good deals while they're available. Always, always, always be willing to speak your mind, let people know what you're thinking, but keep in mind that you also need to be respectful when you do so. Don't match people's energy, especially when they're way too fucking angry. Fuck them. Move on, keep it pushing. But anyways, y'all, it's your boy Ham Solo signing up out of here. I'm gonna go play some goddamn video games, chill for a little bit. If you want to holler at me to play any video games with you or whatnot, let me tell you right now, I got that new Remnant. I've been playing the heck out of that. Right now, I'm stuck on a boss fight. I am getting my ass cooked right now. I've been playing a ton of Modern Warfare 3 online multiplayer. It's been a great time. Halo Infinite has been phenomenal lately. Been playing the hell out of that as well. Immortals of Avium, loving that game. I'm trying to think if there's anything. Oh yeah, Forspoken. I've been playing a little bit of that. Like I said, it's great to play that game when it's at a price that I can, that I can, keep down in my stomach and be okay with. And I advise you guys to do that for a lot of them. So if you know Starfield isn't your game, but you want to try it, go to Game Pass, or maybe even wait until there's a deal on it sometime. Right? I did that with a ton of great games. You don't have to spend that $70 price tag. They'll usually be on sale within the within a quarter after the game comes out or something like that. So just wait for a decent sale and then bite that bullet. See how you like it. Ray Chi, shout out to you right here. Says a $2 a 2 terabyte external SSD is a good addition for the Series X. It takes about 3 to 7 minutes to transfer a 100 gigabyte game to the main storage. Absolutely, I picked myself up one just the other day. I picked it up used for $80. Got me a 1 terabyte for $80, and that sucker works just fine. In fact, when they sold it to me, they're like, "I'm pretty sure this is stolen," and I was like, "I don't care." I was like, "Just give it to me." It was at one of these game stores that I go to whenever I go back into town, back in Lincoln, Nebraska, where I'm from. I usually go to this one game store because since I used to work at Gamers here in Des Moines, he actually knew the owner that used to run the Gamers. We always used to joke that dude was a piece of shit because he was. He used to get into fights with his like wife and shit like that, which was not. But me and him, joked about how much of a piece of shit that dude was, and he thought I was cool enough, so he took me upstairs and showed me their whole business and how they go. Like I went upstairs and seen people working on PS5s, like fixing them, working on Series X's and One X's as well, and I was asking them what usually goes wrong with these things and what. I thought it was pretty interesting and pretty cool because I asked for some Sega CD games and some Saturn games, and he was like, "I gotta take you upstairs if you want to see that." And bro had like boxes on boxes of like Sega CD games and shit like that, man. So if y'all want to check that shit out, Lincoln, Nebraska, they got a lot of games there. Don't sleep on Lincoln. We ain't just about football. We play our games too. But also shout out to Mike Johnson. He says, "Drop your gamer tag." I'm assuming he meant in the chat. My gamer tag's the same as here though. It's Ham Solo 05. That's it. I'll drop it in there, but that is my gamer tag. It's the same here. It's the same there. It's the same on Twitter. The only thing that's different is this whole TSWS thing. But anyways, all right, you guys. It was good. I should definitely do this a lot more. Talk about more of some of these videos of people saying what they have to say and giving y'all my opinion on it. Because I think this was a good time. And my wife was not pissed when I decided to go live this evening. So as long as that stays, I'll continue to try to do this stuff. But anyways, you guys, thank you so much for showing up. Make sure you hit that like button if you haven't already. Share this out. Let everybody else know that your boy Ham Solo went live today on TSWS Gaming. And then if you want to, we have memberships for $2 where you can use emotes. You can be part of the Friday show where we do the giveaway at the end of the show, $10 gift card to whoever. Um, something that's interesting that I'm thinking about doing is the next time I do the show, I might do call-ins just to see what some of you guys are talking about. But with that being said, I'll talk to you about that some other time. Peace out, y'all. Have a wonderful night. Deuces.